All right, we are live on Facebook. Hello, everyone. It's Laverne Gordon with Love Life Now Foundation. As you guys know, this is no stranger um, to popping up on lives and whatnot, but we do these lives because we want to come to you about the issue of domestic violence. We want to keep it in the forefront of them as much as possible, so that folks can understand that domestic violence isn't happening in one area of the world, it is happening throughout. It's an epidemic and it affects everyone from every demographic, from every class. And so I'm really excited to have with us tonight. And I'm going to call her Ice. I am so glad she gave me that out because I did
Yes.
not want to screw up her first name. So, welcome, Ice. We're so glad to
Hi.
have you.
Thank you so much, Lovin. I love your name, first of all. It has so much of love to it, Lovin.
Yes. And you know
Yes.
what's funny? When I
Mhm.
was little, I grew up on the island of Trinidad, and
Mhm.
many people in my neighborhood used to call. So my name was spelled traditionally Lavern,
Uh-huh.
after the traditional show Laverne and Shirley. And people in my neighborhood would always call me Lovey. So when I had a
Oh,
chance to change my name at 13 for to get a passport, I changed it
uh-huh.
to Love. So there we
Yeah,
go. Here we are.
that makes more sense. Yes.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense in my world, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yes.
so glad to have you. I would love for you to introduce yourself to folks, to tell folks who you are, what your background is, and we'll spend like 3 to 4 minutes on that if you have a moment.
Sure, sure. So myself, Ishwarya Prabakar, I go by Ice. Yeah, that's very convenient for most of you to pronounce. So I am a media personality from India, South India. I worked in the South Indian film industry as a television host, dancer, actor. I have done reality shows, one dance reality shows, and then I did a couple of TV series, and then I hosted so many TV shows as well as live events. So I was in the South Indian film industry for nearly 10 years. I started when I was
Wow.
15. Yeah, I was there till 25. So once I moved to the United States, me and my husband, we had a very rough start. It was no honeymoon period at all. So we went through a financial crisis, some family betrayal, things like that. So as an immigrant, it was so difficult for me because I was on a dependent visa. At that point of time, I was not able to work, things like that. So I've been
Mhm.
traveling back to India, USA, things like that. And in the past 3 to 4 years, we kind of settled down, found our way back, and I started promoting a dying traditional art, the decorated pot that you see behind me. That's called karagam. I balance that pot on my head and dance with it. That's my specialty skill. So
I
I've
love
been
it.
conducting workshops, yes, all over
Yes.
US and Canada. So it was going all good before COVID. Now I'm kind of stuck in my home conducting online workshops, yes.
I love it, and that's so cool because that type of art that you talk about
Mhm.
in the form of dance. Again, I'm originally from Trinidad, and we have a huge East Indian population, and that
Mhm.
was so common to see on TV on a Sunday afternoon.
Mhm.
Not just the type of dance, but it in TV formats, right? So we had a lot of Indian programmings, usually on
Mhm.
Sunday afternoons, and so it's just so great. I went on your website, I saw the type of dance that you do, and I was so captivated by it. I've always been captivated by Indian dancing. So it was so good to see. It brought up
Mhm.
memories from my childhood. So thank you for
Oh,
what you're
no,
doing.
that's lovely.
And
Thank you.
and so you are on a mission to sort of show how art can balance life. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. So I strongly believe, so I was like terribly sick when I was 11 years old. I had typhoid, jaundice, malaria all together. So I
Hmm.
was nearly hospitalized in ICU for 1 year. So
Hmm.
recovering from that kind of sickness actually kind of promoted me to learn more art because I was not able to walk for nearly 6 months. Once I recovered from
Wow.
those disease, I was hit with reactive arthritis, hip arthritis, so I had to go through a lot of physiotherapy to get back on my feet. So that time I decided once I recover from this, I want to learn anything, everything possible. So that when we are like intent to learn something new, it always goes to arts, I believe. So I was already
Mhm.
good in studies, academics, but arts kind of liberated me. So I started learning different styles of dances and martial arts, things like that, and performing in front of people and just performing to myself. Learning these things, it felt kind of a meditation to me. I can be totally expressive. Arts can express things which words cannot. That's what I believe in.
Mhm.
So I even do a lot of paintings, portraits, things like that. So my goal is like to make art a part of every individual, because that is where you will find yourself. That is where you will find balance in your life. That's what I believe
Mhm.
in.
That's awesome. And so, and I can totally see that. And so one of the things that, I wanted to touch on, obviously, we promote year-round awareness around the issue of domestic violence, is that you mentioned that when you were little, you suffered from jaundice, you couldn't walk for a while. What did that translate for you in terms of home life as a child? You did experience child abuse. And so explain to folks what that looked like, but not only what it looked like living in an Indian home.
Yeah, so speaking of child abuse, I don't want to mention the person name because he got a
Of
family,
course,
things like that. Yeah.
of
So
course.
in India, at least during my period when I was a kid, the sex knowledge, sex education wasn't that good. We in
Mm-hmm.
schools we are not allowed to talk about it. Even our
Yep.
parents don't talk about such stuffs with us, and there is no concept of sex offender like how it is in USA. A person can
Mm-hmm.
abuse, do things, and he can like live happily, he or she, whoever it is. The victims are the one who has to live in fear,
Yep.
insecurity, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
especially when it happens when you're a kid, you have zero to no knowledge about it, right? So
Yep.
we always tend to think something's wrong with us, or maybe our behavior, our expressions, things like that might have broken somebody else. So I too had the same kind of confusions when I was young, but thankfully to my mom, to my parents, when I told them that I feel something is not right about it, immediately they cut relationship with that person and we moved from that place. And
Mm-hmm.
that point onwards, I like kind of have a very confident, strong relationship with my family, because
Mm-hmm.
they really helped me, supported me to come out of it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I feel like every parent should do. See, my parents, they didn't give me enough sex education. Like they didn't even teach me about the good touch, bad touch. If they had, that would have prevented me from going through all those things. But even though when I told them about that, at least they supported me. So that kind of
Yeah.
support, that is essential for any victim. Doesn't matter how old they are, for a kid
Yeah.
or an adult. Someone they need, like who can, with whom they can be themselves. They're confident, a
Yeah.
kind of person. It's very essential to recover from
Yeah.
any crisis. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's important what you just said. And so it's so it just dawned on me. So I just had a training today. I attended and it was part of a training around child abuse.
Mm.
And what you just said rang through for a lot of the training that happened today was that when a child does disclose to you that it is so very important um, that you are non-judgmental, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what trauma you've experienced. If someone comes to you and they disclose, especially children, you want to be cognizant that you are listening, right? First of all,
Yes.
not judging them, and telling them that they're believed, right? And oh, by the way, this is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, right? So
Mm.
great hand in hand discussion.
Yeah.
So
And
believing
also one more
children.
thing I want to add
Mm-hmm,
is, so once we come out of that phase, right? See, the work that you're
mm-hmm.
doing is tremendous, even for other people who has like moved on from that situation. And
Yes,
yeah, people like that, like me, when I go back to India, if I see something weird about a person, like an adult playing with a kid in a weird way, I immediately confront them. I go
yes,
straight to that person and say, you don't have to keep the kid on your lap, just leave them. Yeah, I do
right.
that on their face, because actually they are the ones who needs to be afraid or insecure.
Mm-hmm.
We are supposed to be confident. So never feel bad about yourself for what you have gone through. You have come out of that stronger, and you should
Yeah.
express the strength out.
Yes, absolutely. And so, right. So, where you were was not where you were destined to be. And
Yeah.
there is more life ahead of you. And in case in point, love life now, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you are, talking about this because you have a major voice on your platform. I know I
Mhm.
visited your Instagram. You have a ton of followers. And folks, when they hear from you about this issue, they're more apt to listen and a little bit
Yeah.
more in tune, especially if you're saying me too, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
it's just so encouraging to hear from folks like you that are willing to speak up and add your voice to this issue because a lot of
Mhm.
people just sometimes need permission. They just need to know that other people have gone through it and they're not alone, right? At the bottom line,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they are not alone. And that's a lot of the times people fall through the wayside or through
So
the
true.
cracks, especially children who do
Mhm.
not have a voice.
Mhm.
So, can you tell me at the time? I know you went, to your mom and she was, right on the ball and she was able to
Yeah.
move you guys out of, where you were. But what were you feeling going through this time period in your life? Like, what was it like for you before you disclosed?
It was total insecurity. That's what I would say. Because the person who actually abuses, they have a set of dialogues saying that, oh, you should not talk about this out. I
Mm-hmm.
am not doing anything wrong to you. There is nothing wrong doing this. So they kind of talk to you. See, the thing is, as a kid, we like to play out. We
Yeah,
like to talk to people, meet different people. We will be like all about learning at that age. We tend to explore a lot. So
yeah.
when things like this happen, that nature kind of curbs. We become
Mm-hmm.
more to ourselves. We become timid. We don't know what to talk, what to express, because somewhere deep down we know that this is not right. But at the
It's
same
wrong.
time,
Yeah.
we don't have the maturity or the capability to bring it out, express it to others. That kind of nature has to be nurtured, because a
Mm-hmm.
kid should be given the liberty, should be given the freedom to talk about this. So they should
Yeah.
have given, like, there should be a scenario where parents should discuss with the kid, like, if at all things like this happen, we are the ones you should come first. Never feel
Mm-hmm.
bad about yourself. So I when going through this, I it was like even before the sickness, when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, I think. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
now looking back, all I can think is I was super shocked. I was scared. I don't know what's happening to me, or all that. And even after telling to my parents, I was still thinking something is wrong with me, because they had a
Yeah.
serious discussion among themselves. So I was thinking, oh, I shouldn't have told this, because now there is some serious discussion happening in the family, and maybe I
Mm-hmm.
am the reason now they are fighting with each other. So all these
Yeah.
things brings different thoughts to the kids. It was very hurting, but
Yeah.
I, from right now, with in this position, I can say that gave me enormous strength. See, if I had
Mhm.
stuck as the same 7 8 year old eyes,
Yeah.
then I would never had this journey, right? See,
Yeah.
speaking of me too, I worked in the media industry for nearly 10 years with no bad experience. So
Mhm.
those strength gave me the maturity to, like, when I meet people, I can instantly say whether they are looking at me with right intentions or wrong.
Oh,
So
wrong.
all those
Yeah.
experience, yeah, all those childhood
Trauma.
about bitter experience, traumatic
Yeah.
experience, kind of made me the stronger person that I'm today.
I love it. And, again, where you are is, unfortunately, sometimes where folks they think or believe they're supposed to be, and they never come out of those bad experiences. They never
Yeah.
end up leaving. They never get a chance to use their voice like you're doing now. And that's what we want to encourage folks to do is that, again, first of all, if you are a parent of a child, it is so important to get acclimated about what sexual abuse or child abuse can look like and look for the signs, right? You may not be doing it yourself. You're stand-up parent. you're doing a fantastic job, but that it can come from elsewhere. One of the things that stuck out to me today on that particular training that I attended was that, oftentimes, and this is something I may have heard in the past, but never really took it on as something. But a lot of the times it's because this is happening amongst children's peers. So you're thinking the perpetrator is this dirty old man in a trench coat at a park, right? When the
Mm-hmm.
monster typically can be someone right in your midst, right? Or a child of the same age, and those things kind of go unnoticed, and it's like the child
Oh
comes
my God.
home, right? And
Mhm.
so just in talking about this, I just was so excited to talk to you today, Ice, because I know that you were going to share a little bit about your experience, and I really wanted you to share about what you're doing now. But these conversations need to happen more, because again,
For
it's
sure.
not it's not the dirty old man in the trench coat. It is everyday people,
Yeah, and
like
it's
parents
also
or
not
friends.
just yeah, and it's also not just happening to the kids, right? Even some
Mm-hmm.
teenagers or
Yes.
even adult women, they when something like even the domestic violence, when things bad things happen to them, women are usually tend to think first they think something is wrong with them. They don't think
Yeah.
that the partner or whoever does those bad things to them, they don't think they are wrong. They first think I must have done something wrong. So that's
Yeah.
why I always insist with my followers or everyone, if you have to question your self love or yourself, then that's wrong. If
Right.
someone makes you question your self worth, then you're not going in the right direction. So
Right.
that's what we should focus on. And I also believe that our education system, it has science, it has mathematics, so many things related to the technology, but all we have to learn more is how to handle people, how to deal with people,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we do on daily basis. We meet
Yep.
different people. Most of us doesn't know how to express our feelings, our emotions. We tend to curb a lot, and eventually those
Mm-hmm.
all those curbed emotions went out in a very violent or aggressive or depressing way. So there
Mm-hmm.
should be something like an education, how to deal with people, how to
Mm-hmm.
understand, how to express emotions. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I feel like art helps me to promote, because through art I can
Yeah.
express a lot. I can that makes me happy. That helps me
Yeah.
to find my purpose, who I am from the inside.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so what would you say to um you know let's say the Indian government, right?
Mhm.
About introducing art as a form of therapy or as a mandated part of um, the curriculum, right? And
Mhm.
also not just art, but DV awareness and or sexual assault workshops, right? What would you, if you had the opportunity to speak to the lawmakers, the folks in charge at schools, what would you say to them to encourage them to?
Yeah, it's a must. So they already started
Yeah,
doing that. So what I
good,
told during my period, it was not there, but now they already started doing it from, I think for kids from age even 5 and above, they are teaching the
fantastic.
basics like the good touch, bad touch, whom you should first report when bad things happen to you, or a
Mm-hmm,
teacher, next to your parents, things like that, whoever the adult next to you. If at all you feel something is wrong, whom you have to report about it. So they are doing all these things, but this is not enough. That's what I think.
mm-hmm,
The kind of attention we are giving towards other parts of education,
mm-hmm.
this has to be like given at least 25% more attention, because
Yeah,
in India, there is no wonder India is called a rape capital, right? There are so many
mm-hmm.
assaulting
Yeah,
happening, and especially most of the abusement, child abusement happening is within the family. So
mm-hmm.
that's where things like, oh, the family things should stay inside the family, we should not talk about it outside.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
those kind of things like really upset me so much. So there
Mm-hmm,
need to be some kind of system where the person who withhold the system doesn't take advantage of it, and the
mm-hmm,
kids should be given the freedom. So if their family is that kind of a system, that's like the best case scenario. But in the
Hmm.
schools, at least there should be some system where the kid can go and report if something's wrong happening to them in their family itself.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's awesome. And I think those are really great outlets and solutions, right?
mm-hmm,
And so obviously the systems between here and India, between the US and India, are different. What are some of the things that you would like to see here that, could be better as it relates
mm-hmm.
to child abuse?
Okay, here the main thing I see is there is some lag between people, like how what they think and what they express. People
Yeah.
are people are so curbing their emotions, so that starts when they are very young itself. So there
Mhm.
has to be a lot of mental training, like psychiatry classes for the kids. It's okay to express their feelings. A kid should never curb a feeling like, oh, you cannot raise your hair voice, you cannot express your crying feeling, things like that. So when you put pressure on a kid to curb one particular feeling, they automatically tend to apply that for the other areas as well.
Across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
especially when if a molestation kind of thing happened where they have no knowledge about it, like they don't have the entire picture of what is happening to them, obviously they will try to curb that feeling. They will not express it at all. So here I feel like kids, especially in the schools, there need to be more programs where every kid should express about their feelings, their emotions, because I believe I've studied somewhere in the social service, when kids are asked to draw about their
Hmm.
foster care, things like that, that's when they saw so many drawings where some of the kids were child abused.
Yeah.
So
Because
it
they're
is so
expressing
important.
themselves. It's a lot of monstrous pictures, angry pictures,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so most of them are not able to express it through words. So we should find a medium or some way to make them more expressive right from the young age. That's when they become adults, they will become more responsible citizen. They'll neither be the victim nor be the person who makes you victim. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so in the States, there are a lot of DV agencies, domestic violence agencies and sexual assault agencies.
Mm,
And they have shelter components. A lot of them have shelter components to them. I know there's at least one advocate watching with us right now.
mhm,
And specifically, I would love if you would be able to get connected with them to see how you could introduce your art
mhm.
in the form of dance to those children to be able to offer that service. Is that something that you'd be open to doing?
Yeah, yeah, of course, most definitely. I'm like totally open to help kids in any ways possible, because as I always insist, art helps us to find balance. It's not just for
Mm,
adults, it's for kids, especially for kids, because it's easy to mold when you're in a wet clay position, right? So
yeah.
so most of the molesters who are right now adults, it is like zero to no possibility to change them right now. They are like a
Mhm.
fine-tuned character right now.
Yep.
No amount of punishment, I don't know any amount of punishment can ever change them. But with
Right.
kids, we can try to engineer their mind, we can try
Yeah.
to make them understand, we can like enhance their inner beauty. So those things, I strongly believe art can help anybody to express more about themselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now I want you to talk about, and so thank you for sharing about your experience. It is not easy to ever go back to those times. I know as a survivor myself, it is not easy to go back at any given point, but it's necessary to be transparent so that others can see themselves in you, and vice versa, right? So
Mhm.
I want to touch on what you're doing now. What is ICE doing now, and how can people find you?
Okay, so right now I'm taking dance workshops, drawing classes. So I'm completely an artistic person. I love any form of art, and mainly I'm promoting this dying arts of South India. Those are Karagatam, Poikal Gudra is where I tie a stick to my leg and dance on top of it, and
Okay.
another martial art called Silambam, one with a stick. So I
Mm-hmm.
take workshops on these art forms, and I also take online drawing classes. I do pencil sketch, painting, so many things. I've given my work to Indian president and all. I've made a portrait of him and I've presented it to him in person, late Indian
I
president.
love that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I take all these art classes, and I'm also acting and modeling teacher at Barbizon USA School. So
Oh my,
yes,
that's awesome. Barbizon's been around for quite some time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm also an actor, model. I've signed up a movie, my first movie, debut movie in
Oh,
America.
I
Yes, it's
love
going to happen
that.
this year. Thank you. Thank you.
So
And I've been
awesome.
modeling for so many ads, different kind of ads, things like that. So I'm like I'm not this 9 to 5 job person. So even back in India, I don't work all time.
Yeah.
I like to work in my own schedule, being my own boss, things like that.
Yes,
So
yes, 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 yes,
yeah.
yes. Girl boss, right? You're a girl
Girl
boss.
boss, yes, and I also like to support others, help others who are who share my same thoughts in my same
Yeah,
journey. So I
yeah.
also give kind of motivational videos in my regional languages, which is available in my YouTube channel, Art
Mm-hmm,
Ishwarya, all about ice. And I'm also
mm-hmm.
present in Instagram, Facebook, where I share my dance videos, drawing, words, also my live interactions happening there.
Yeah, yeah. And so what is your Instagram handle where people can find you there?
Yeah, it's Ice, my last name, Prabakar. That's my Instagram handle, and it's the same for my Facebook, where my full name is Iswarya Prabakar.
See, you say it so nicely. If I said it, I'd screw it up. But
Yes.
so Ice Prabakar, you can find her on Instagram. I'm going to put her social media in the handle on the chat piece. But I also now want to just before I let you go, because we tend to try to talk about 30, 45 minutes. So we have some more time. I want to
Mhm,
touch on what you feel, and then we're gonna go back to the issue at hand. Um,
mhm,
what do you feel like or how far do you think we've come on the conversation of sexual assault, child abuse? Um, is it a comfortable conversation to have? Do you think? Is it more comfortable than it was now, and not just for here, but in India? What progress
okay.
has been around the conversation, and whether or not it's more comfortable than
Yeah.
it was before?
Yeah. So if you ask me personally, I am talking about this the past today with no tears, no bad emotions, is because I have spoken about this a lot more times. First
Yeah.
with my family so many times, and I kind of even questioned my parents at some point. How can you think like I'm playing over there for 3 to 4 hours? Didn't you have like a
Wow.
pinch of
Yeah.
doubt that what they will be doing to me? Why didn't you even
Yeah.
think like that at all? Were you so busy with your own life that time? Then why do you even
To
have
come
kids
check
if you're
for
not
me.
in?
Yeah.
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 Why did you wait for me to come and tell you? Why can't you just
Hmm.
look at me and see that something's
And
going
no.
wrong, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I've kind of had so many conversations related to this with my family. That's why today I'm so comfortable about talking it without shedding tears or feeling bad about myself and all. So
Yeah.
speaking about this, like back in India, I would say it depends from person to person. See,
Hmm.
either you should be a very confident person, like strong person, then
Hmm.
you have a very good opportunity because when a victim comes out, there is a high chance they will be accused for the event that
Hmm.
happened.
Yep.
That's the case everywhere. That's not just in India. That's the case everywhere, right? The
Yep. Yep.
victims are usually questioned how it happened, why it happened, why you kept quiet for so long. Those kind of
Hmm.
questions really make them even more scared to come out.
To come
So
forward. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you need to be a real strong person to first of all have these kind of conversations, or at least
Hmm.
you should have a supporting system. People
Hmm.
who have gone through similar kind of situations and who from who you can pick few strength, few confidence, and bring this out. So I don't think it evolves so much because as I said, see, you are a kind of person who you translated your life story into a book, and that
Mm-hmm.
through that you have started an organization supporting women like
Yeah.
you, supporting people who have gone through child abuse, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
helping them to become the best version of themselves, giving them more strength, and telling them that they are not alone. These kind of strong women are very few. Most of them are self-accusing,
Mm-hmm.
self-loathing, feeling that, oh no, I shouldn't do that. I should. So they spend most of their life in questioning themselves. So um, even if they see this kind of video, I don't think they will come out immediately. They will come forward
Yeah.
immediately. So for
Yeah.
those kind of people are the majority people. For them, there definitely need to be a support system starting from the home itself. So to my generation, that's what I would say. At least let's raise the next generation better. Let's raise
Mm-hmm.
our children better so that
Mm-hmm.
we'll have an open communication. We don't have to hide certain topics. We don't
Yep.
have to like curb our emotions, feelings.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a
Mm-hmm.
better generation where happiness is more and all these traumatic experiences are less.
Is or less, yeah. And that's most that we can hope. And so putting out topics like this, and so obviously the Facebook Live is going to be up forever. It's going
Mhm.
to be on our YouTube so anybody can watch it. But having more, after watching this, the call to action to the folks that will listen later, that are listening now, that have chimed in from earlier, that, the call to action is, how do you then, if you have a child, how, and may I ask how old you were when you experienced the abuse?
Seven,
Seven. And
six or seven, yeah.
that is the age, and that's what I heard on the training today. It's usually around
Mm,
6, 7, 8 years old. The call to action is, if you have a child around this age, right? I'm saying to you, we are saying to you, sit with them, have a conversation on their level. If it's something that you are not ready to, take on head on by yourself, there are many resources that can help you start that conversation. I
mm,
did put in the comments that RAIN, which is the National Sexual Assault Agency, that they can help you get the conversation with resources on their website. You can also reach out to other. There's BARC right here in Boston. There's the Boston area right rape crisis center that also has resources about starting the conversation of sexual abuse, sex itself, what that looks like, being honest. Right, every household is different, but I challenge you to maybe start talking about private parts, right? Like you said, good touch,
mm,
bad
mm.
touch, but using the real words or a word that an adult would recognize to describe private parts. No more cookie, right? No more, this is your fairy, right? So, because if a child is being hurt or harmed and they go to another adult with those words, they're not going to understand what they're talking about. That's only your
Mm,
word in
mm.
your house. So just being really honest in some way, shape, or form of what this issue can look like, and having those conversations with children earlier, because it
Yes.
can happen from anywhere 6, 7, 8 years old,
Mm,
is where this cycle begins to repeat. So I just
yeah.
want to thank you, Ice, because again, the conversation, there are many conversations happening now during April because it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So I do
Mhm.
want to encourage folks to share this video. And again, the call to action is to go back in your own homes and recognize where the gaps are, that you can tighten to make this a little bit more prevalent with
Definitely.
kids.
And as you said, they have to be real with this discussion,
Mm-hmm.
and no
Yes.
age is like too low. Oh, my kid is just a
Nope.
baby. How can I talk about it right now? The molester never sees your kid as a baby. So no
No.
age is too young to start talking about it, right? Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. And that is so like a spot on. Like I can't say it enough because, they're looking, they are the ones that are sexualizing our
Yeah.
children, right? And
Yeah.
so, again, how early is too early? None of
Mm,
it, right?
mm,
It's literally breaking it down to their level. There are kids, the mama bear effect, they're very heavy on Instagram. They're also on TikTok with me. And they're another awareness organization that really promotes, and they're right out of Massachusetts as well, that really promotes, awareness around this issue.
mm.
So I just want to thank you. I want to commend you, you and all the other organizations that are out there advocating for this issue, but for what you're doing through art, to be able to help people and help them, like you said, balance life. Once again, can you share where people can find you, Ice?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram handle is ice_Prabakar, and my Facebook is Iswarya Prabakar. So you can find the links, as Lavan said, under this video, because my
Yep.
spelling might be difficult for many to find. And my YouTube
Yeah.
channel is All About Ice. That's the easiest spelling of all about ice.
All about ice. I absolutely
Yes.
love it. And so we're going to end the discussion now. But again, I'm going to put Ice's links in the chat. But again, we leave you. If there's one thing that you want to share with folks that they can take away from this talk tonight, Ice, can you share with them now?
Yeah,
If there's one thing.
I want to share them. This is one beep effing life, okay? So shit
Mm-hmm.
happens, and never think you are alone. Everyone fights their
Mm-hmm.
own battle in this life. So moving on is the only option. And when you move on, try to gain strength from things that happen to you, and try to spread that strength to others who are going through the similar situation. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I believe in completely. And thanks to you, Loven, because I see that you are doing that, so those kind of things to everyone around you, and I really appreciate all your work towards this. All the best to your organization. May you help a lot of people in your journey.
Yeah, yeah. And it's going to keep conversations like this, or what's going to continue to make that happen because of you and be your transparency. So thank you so much, Ice, for joining us. We are so excited again for another
Thank you.
pop up.
Yeah.
And we're glad you joined us for tonight. Again, stay tuned. You never know, we're going to pop up
Mhm.
again. So,
Yeah.
again, just to keep the conversation going around this issue that is so prevalent and affecting so many. So, thank you and
Thank you,
enjoy the
Loven.
rest of your night.
Thank you.